All right, good morning, everyone. It is Saturday, April 5th. We're talking about hockey, of course, and playoff scenarios. Before we begin, I just wanted to mention, unfortunately, it seems like I've relapsed a bit, so there's going to be a lot of starts and stops to this video um, while I periodically cough my head off. All right, so one of the games that really shaped up the playoff picture last night was Columbus beating Monroe 4-2. That is a huge loss for Monroe, and we'll explain why as we go on. But for those of you wondering, Monroe's playoff picture possibilities, they have to win every single game from here on out. And Baton Rouge needs to be held to a maximum of 2 points in their remaining 5 games. So, not a very likely scenario. For this game, Columbus gets the game-winning goal from Loic Plouffe at 9:05 of the second. That was, at that point, made it 3-1 in favor of Columbus, and they would end up adding an empty netter at the end of the game. Matt Petesian, he saves 36 on the night for the River Dragons for the win. Cody Karpinski, he stops 24 of 27 and 58-12 played. An empty net goal against the Moccasins, of course, doesn't go against him. That was scored by Alex Storjahan. Shots on goal for the game. Monroe with the advantage, 38-28, but the River Dragons just got the better of their opportunities. So here's the scenario. Again, and like I said, the Moccasins have to win out in order to make the playoffs. They've got 5 games left. Baton Rouge also 5 games left. Again, they need to be held to just 2 points maximum. So it's looking pretty much like an act of God is needed for the Moccasins to make the playoffs. Nonetheless, all right. So yes, Storjahan with 2 goals and assists in this game. Nick Favreau for the Moccasins had 2 assists. Cody Wickline also a goal and 2 assists as well. So yeah, Moccasins are really they have their backs against the wall. Columbus is pretty much locked in that 3rd spot. They need 1 more point to officially clinch that spot. But they're pretty much stuck there. 32, 15, and 4 is their record. Monroe is 22, 22, and 8. And so now we go on to our next game, which really didn't settle anything as far as playoff seedings, except for the hat tricks got closer to cinching up that 2nd place spot in the Empire with a huge 11-3 shellacking of the Seawolves. And this was all about the Russians. Yeah, the vodka line. A couple people have affectionately called them 17 points between Vadim Frolov, Gleb Bandurkin, and Alexander Vasiliev. 17 points. Yeah, it was crazy. Game-winning goal wasn't scored until late in the first, so to speak. 16:56, the time of the goal. Initially given to Bandurkin, then later on they switched it to Frolov. But that's all right. Bandurkin did quite all right on his own. So yeah, shots were 11-8 in the first period as Danbury got out to a 4-1 lead with Ed Coffey in goal. Connor McCollum in net for the hat tricks. And it would just go from bad to worse. Yeah, 11-3 by the time everything was said and done. Bandurkin, 4 goals on the night. Even with the 1 goal switched to Frolov. 4 goals and an assist. So, of course, he had the hat trick. Frolov, 2 goals and 4 assists. Alexander Vasiliev, 6 helpers on the night. Meanwhile, you also had Johnny Ruiz and Jacob Ratcliffe scoring. Goal by Austin Langworthy of the Seawolves. He was the only goal in the first period for them. So yeah, it was pretty much pretty much over pretty early. So, yeah, one more win, and the Hat Tricks clinch that second place spot in the Empire Division, and they would host, most likely, the Port Huron Prowlers. So, Danbury, 31, 14, and 8. Mississippi falls to 11, 39, and 6. So, there we go with that. So far, no coughing. So that's a good thing. So we'll continue to go on. Switch to the big board. All right, here we go. Word of advice, don't get bronchitis. Ever. All right, so here's our 4 games that I did watch. Well, I picked the Bobcats to win. As a matter of fact, I was perfect 6 for 6 in picking winners last night. Yay me. I did expect Blue Ridge to win. I did not expect a 6-0 shutout. The Venom, not a good night defensively. Poor John Moriarty. He makes 55 saves, and it's not enough. Anytime you have a goaltender making 55 saves and it's not enough, you got to look at your defensive situation, which it's not good with the Venom. So, first period, it's Nick Stuckless. He scores a shorthanded goal, which that is the first shorthanded goal by the Blue Ridge Bobcats. They were the only team coming into last night to not score a shorthanded goal. Well, that's gone by the wayside now. So, makes it 1-0 at the end of 1. Shots were 19-10 in favor of the Bobcats. In the second period, they just go nuts. And for the third straight game, the Bobcats score at least 3 goals in the second period. So, if you're playing the Bobcats, you know when they're going to turn it up. Period number 2. All right, so, it's Hunter Godmere. He ends up getting a hat trick in the period, scoring first at 7:48, scoring again at 13:07. Brendan Reller got the next goal to break up the natural hat trick, but that's okay. Big turnover by Ivan Panavanov, and that play Reller puts the puck home past Moriarty. And then Godmere scores at 16:15. That gives him the hat trick. It's 5-0 at the end of 2. Skeeter dogs all around. Skeeter. You clinch a playoff spot and you get Skeeter dogs. Yeah, not a bad night if you're in Wytheville or the surrounding area. All right, Nick Stuckless scores again at 10:37. Just an absolute bullet of a shot from the face-off circle. Probably the best shot by Stuckless I've seen all year. And I've watched him quite a bit this year. 10:37, that made it a 6-0 serious number shutout. Greg Hussey, not tested a whole lot. There were a few big saves that he did have to come up with, and when he needed to, yeah, he did. So this is shutout number 3 for Hussey on the year. Stops 35 shots. Again, Moriarty, 55 saves, and he probably could have been a star of the game, but there's only 3 given, so you have Godmere, Stuckless, and Hussey. So Bobcats, they clinched their spot. They are at least locked in the 4th. Now they could fall to 5th. It could be Baton Rouge and Blue Ridge flipping, but at this point in time, the Bobcats have a 3-point edge, so they are in 4th place. 26, 21, and 6 is their record. Hudson Valley, why not? I'll just go ahead and say it and get it out of the way. They fall to 13, 34, and 3, 35 shots compared to 61 for the Bobcats. 10-23 the announced attendance. All right, our next game, and boy, did this turn ugly. And that's all I can say. Third period was ugly. All right, so it's an easy 5-1 win by the Thunderbirds. Well, not so easy, because there was a lot of pecking and clawing and scratching and fighting in this game. Port Huron doing what Port Huron does. They like to muck it up. They like to assert themselves physically. Their defense doesn't often give up 5 goals, so this was a bit of a rarity. So first period, it's Gus Ford, 14:41. He scores, and yeah, that's really all we would hear from him. He had a very quiet night, actually. So that made it 1-0 as Ford scores past Reed Cooper. Boris Babic in net for the Thunderbirds. He had a very contentious night. I don't remember the last time I saw a goalie get pinned for 3 different minor penalties, 8 penalty minutes altogether for Babic. Very unusual. A lot of activity in his crease, and he said, "This is my house. Get out." All right. So in the second period, it's Peter Panicek. He scores at 1:18 in, and that's the game-winning goal, by the way. That's 2-0 Carolina. Now Bobby Price did score at 12:31. Or yeah, that I think that's a 3. It's a scribble. Anyway, 12:31, and then that's where things really started becoming contentious. You know, the Prowlers finally are kind of back in it. It's only 2-1, and things started to get very feisty right then. So that was the first of 2 fights that Jacob Schnapp was involved in. So yeah, it's yeah, a little contentious. So Dawson Baker scores at 19:42. Pretty quick. Yeah, it was a response. So it's 3-1 at the end of 2 shots through 2 were well, yeah, it was close at that point. Carolina 21 in favor over 19 for Port Huron. So again, the game was kind of close, but it was 3-1, and you could really see the momentum shift on that Baker goal. That was just kind of like, you know, Thunderbird said, "Yeah, not tonight. We're not giving it to you." So 6:24 of the third period, it's Batista tipping in the shot on the power play. And then, you know, after this, things really started to get ugly. Port Huron, you know, they're having their 9-game winning streak snapped. They were not happy. Carolina was not, you know, putting up with it. So yeah, things got very pushy and shovey, and you know, coaches yelling at each other. I thought Chris Pollan was going to climb over the partition. Yeah, he didn't, thank God. But yeah, it was pretty nasty for a while. So yeah, at the end of the game, yeah, Schnapp just, yeah, serious beatdown. So he's gone. He's probably facing a suspension for an aggressor penalty. You know, the whole fighting an unwilling opponent, blah 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 blah. So it got ugly. Chartrand, I'm not sure what's up with him. He got involved in some stuff earlier. Right at the end of the game, he had words for a couple of players. Thankfully, there were not any, you know, other physicalities. But anyway, Dawson Baker does score the empty net goal at 19:17. That made it 5-1. They end up winning. They are now just 2 points behind Athens with a game in hand. So they control their own destiny. They are now 38-11-4. Port Huron 30-17-6 in that third place spot in the Empire. All right, so let's move down to Baton Rouge, where the Watertown Wolves bust over 1,500 miles down to Baton Rouge to take on the Zydico for a 3-game series. Wow, what a long bus trip that must have been. Anyway, so yeah, Zidico end up with a 5-3 win. Poor Brian Flores calling the game for the Zydeco. He had a litany of technical difficulties that kind of seemed to fluster him a little bit. Brian, if you're watching, you did a great job. I know things were kind of set against you. You kept on going and, you know, kept us fans entertained. Appreciate the job you do. All right. So, and Jeff Barrett from the Watertown Wolves was tuned in as well, watching um, in the comment section. So it was good to see him. All right. So with this game, it it was back and forth in the first period. It really seemed like teams were feeling each other out and getting a couple opportunities along the way, making the most of those chances. Brennan Colgan in goal for the Wolves. Sammy Bernard in goal the um, for the Zydico. Pardon me a second. Oh, we're good. Okay, so Scott Chirac, he scores first for the Zydeco, 7:32. Bit of a miscue, mishandling the puck by Colgan, and Chirac shoved it home. And then the favor was kind of returned as Carter Thornton scores goal that just trickles by Bernard. It looked like Bernard got a good piece of it, but obviously not enough. The puck just crosses the line and in, and Carter Thornton evens things up. Trevor Lord scores at 18:55 on the power play, 2-1, and you felt like at that moment that the Wolves had the momentum, but Shane Haggerty, 19:28. I've said it before. I'll say it again. You give up a goal in the final minute of a period. It's really deflating, and it's hard to overcome. You can, but it's difficult. It's very psychological. Anyway, Haggerty scores 19:28. So pretty quick response, just 33 seconds after Lord had put the Wolves up. So it's 2-2 at the end of one. Shots were 13 aside. And it looked like at that point, nobody had the upper hand. So we got to the second period, and this is where everything changes on a spectacular play. Yes, we've seen it here and there, but it's not really all that common, especially in the Fed. Yep, Ross Bartlett scores on the Michigan. I believe that's the second Michigan goal this year. I seem to remember about 2 months back somebody scored a Michigan. If you know who it was, I'm almost positive that there was a Michigan goal about 2 months ago. If you know who that was, what team, what game, comment down below. Let me know, because it's like in the corner of my mind here. But anyway, Ross Bartlett scores that Michigan goal, and the crowd erupts. Crowd 3154, they just go nuts seeing that. And Bartlett, of course, new addition to the Zidico lineup, and he really provided a spark. That was what the Zidico needed. Kuznetsov scores at 7:51, first goal for him in about 2 months, so he'd been kind of snake bitten. Gets off the schneid and makes it 4-2 at 7:51. We did late in the period. We had a goal by Dominic Della Savita. Savicha? I'm sorry. I butchered that name, and I apologize. Dominic Della Savita. Yes. That is a name. Whew. Anyway, he scores at 17:34 for the Wolves. He's been a very good pickup by the Wolves. He's really shown a lot in the short time he's been with the team. He makes a 4-3. So the Wolves have a little bit of hope restored. Shots in that second period were 15-9 in favor of the Wolves, but the Zydeco got on the board twice. So we get to the third period, and another person who's been kind of snake bit with goals lately. He ends up scoring the final goal of the game. It's Rio Namiki for the Zydeco, 17:09. His first goal in 4 months. Yeah. And boy, did the crowd go nuts with that. Namiki is a fan favorite in Baton Rouge. So that's 5-3. That's how the game would end. And Brennan Colgan takes the loss for the Wolves, who end up short-handed 5-3. The Wolves are now 27-21-3, and it seems more and more like they are going to be hosting that play-in game for the Empire Division playoffs. They're kind of locked in the fourth place, 11 points down, but they still do have 5 games to play, so they could vault themselves in the third place. Zidico, 27-18-6, and this is the important thing for them. They lower their magic number to 3 points, so one more win for the Zidico, and they are in. All right, so they will be looking to do that tonight. Either a win by the Zydeco or a regulation loss by Monroe. And they're in. So, yeah, for this game, Trevor Lord, a goal and assist for the Wolves. Colgan stops 28 of 33. He was pulled briefly at the end of the game for the extra attacker. Nothing happened. 59-10 was his time on ice. And then for the Zydeco, who have been struggling offensively, they got a boatload of offense, a goal and an assist each for Kuznetsov, for Haggerty, for Bartlett, and for Scott Chirac. But again, it was that Michigan goal that really seemed to make this game go for the Zydeco. So they end up 27-18-6 now with their record. And finally, we had a game that helped shake things up in the Empire Division. And boy, I'm very close to the edge here. All right. The Rockers get a big win over the Dashers. You know, they could have kind of let up and taken the Dashers for granted. They did not. The Dashers have been playing much better lately, but the Rockers played a solid game. Even though they got outshot 43-32. Yeah, Dashers had the shot advantage. This was all Motor City. And early on, it was Hunter Hall scoring on the power play, 152. Later on in the period, 4:23, it's Brendan Ronan. Gets his first goal as a Rocker. So, yeah, right away, everybody's going, whoa, you know, is this going to be a long night? Fortunately, the Dashers kind of settled down for a little bit, but shots were 18-15 in that first period in favor of the Dashers. Yeah, a lot of offensive ice available. Dasher score in the second at 7:55. It's Lucas Rothy scoring. You don't hear his name on the score sheet very often, so we're mentioning here. But then it was 4 straight goals by the Rockers. It was Chris Corrigan at 13:50 of the second. That made it 3-1. We go into the third, and it's Nick Gullo scoring at 1:11, and then Corey Checo scoring at 4:26. I made the comment about Checo and the man, and a lot of people like that. TJ Sneath scores at 5:43. So there's a flurry of goals in just a 4-minute span. Now, Mo Levac did get himself on the board, his first goal since coming back as a player. Scores at 10:56. He's one of the reasons why the Dashers have been playing better. He's an excellent tutor. Really does well with mentoring young players. You know, that's the whole reason why he's there. So he scores at 10:56. At that point, it's 6-2. Josh Colton scores on the power play at 14:16. Hunter Hall, he had the first goal. Why not have the last? 17-12 he scores, and 8-2 is the final. In this game, Ricardo Gonzalez gets himself a win, stopping 41 of 43. Parker Rutherford, not his best statistical night. 24 saves on 32 shots. You know, he's usually saving 45, 50, 55 shots a night. So it was a rough one. So Dashers are now 2-47-3 on the year. Motor City improves 18-31-3. Now, they win and the Venom lose. So their magic number is reduced to 6. So tonight, if the Rockers win and the Venom lose, both in regulation, the final playoff spot in the Empire is set. So we could have everything completely set by the end of tonight. And we would be talking about that tomorrow. We'll see if that happens. We could have some races lingering into the final weekend, but right now there's only 2 spots left that are unclaimed. So there you go. And made it. Voice held out. Thank God. Thank you for bearing with me and for all the nonsense. I kind of feel like Brian Flores. It's like my health has been kind of against me, and thank you for staying with me through all that. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in tomorrow. We'll be talking about more playoffs. By the way, final thing, gotta mention, I know this isn't fed, but if you don't know, Alex Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals tied Brett Gretzky, no, Wayne Gretzky's record for most goals scored career, 894. Yep, Ovechkin is now tied at the top of the very list. Sunday, he may break that record. It is hockey history. Whether you are a fan of Alex Ovechkin or not, I am not, but I respect what he's done. I respect his body of work, and I acknowledge he's a great goal scorer. He could make hockey history on Sunday night or Sunday afternoon, I believe it is. So tune in for that. All right, I'm Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash. Thanks for watching. We'll be back with you tomorrow.